Hey, what's up guys, it's Bakes, and thank you for joining me for day number 5 of my 31 Days of Horror. Today's movie is one from only last year, so 2022, however I didn't get a chance to watch it last year. This was actually a first time watch for myself, so I'd never seen this movie before. And funny enough, like a couple of days before putting this on for the review, is actually where I first started to hear people actually talk about this movie, and it seemed to be that most people dug it. So today's movie is called You Won't Be Alone. So before I get into my thoughts of this movie, let's quickly run through the plot. So this movie takes place in Macedonia in the 19th century, this isolated mountain village. This young woman is abducted by this shape-shifting witch, and in turn, like once she reaches a certain age, she turns into a witch as well. And her powers as a witch, she's able to inhabit the bodies of other people, and she becomes curious with other people's lives, and the movie is her just sort of swapping between bodies and living the lives of other people, and that's pretty much the story for this movie. So let's get into my thoughts of 2022's You Won't Be Alone. So where to start with this movie? I guess first of all, to me, I felt like there wasn't a lot of horror elements. By all means, there was spurts where there was cool blood and gore, and I thought the witch looked pretty cool. But overall, it was very limited. I'd probably pinpoint this movie to be more of like an artistic period piece drama. So if those movies are up your alley, I'm sure you'll enjoy this one. But for me, to be quite honest, I found this movie to be a little bit boring, and it just wasn't really my thing. I guess we'll get into that. I just feel like with my personal taste of what I like in horror movies, there was just too many elements working against me. I've said this on my channel so many times before, I'm very split when it comes to period pieces. Either they work or I really hate them, and this one just felt like it sort of dragged. I didn't really love the period piece setting. It was a slow burn as well. This movie already has a runtime of an hour and 50 minutes, so having the story sort of just drag and move along at this slow pace didn't help either. And then throw on top of that it's a foreign movie as well, so you're reading subtitles and everything. Yeah, to me this movie was just a drag to get through. To stay on the topic of it being foreign as well, the subtitles, to be fair, this movie is very limited with its dialogue, but when people are talking, it's like words are just drooling out of their mouth. It's so slow, and a lot of the sentences are just repeated over and over, and this movie to me was just so slow. The story is actually kind of interesting, and that's sort of unfortunate because it's an interesting story. I just feel like the execution just, as I said, it's not my taste. It just wasn't really up my alley. But as I said in my intro, I've heard that a lot of people actually do enjoy this movie. Now, everything filmmaking wise and from a technical standpoint, this is a well-made movie, as in it's shot well, it looks pretty good, it's well acted. I'm not calling this movie garbage. All of my criticisms in this review just come down to a personal taste. As I said, I can see a lot of people really enjoying this movie, and from what I've heard, a lot of people really do. But for me, as I said, I was just really bored watching this movie. I'm not gonna lie, so many times watching this one, I felt myself like nodding off and my head dropping, and I had to like snap myself out of it, like fucking wake up and finish this movie. As I said, it's pretty interesting, but when it's going at a snail's pace and it's limited dialogue and each scene sort of just slowly ticks over, it takes a lot out of you. And yeah, for a story that's pretty interesting, when it's moving at that pace, it's hard to stay engaged. So I'm just gonna wrap this review up now. I'm gonna give You Won't Be Alone from 2022 a 3.5. Yeah, from a technical standpoint, it's probably higher than a 3.5, but all of my ratings come down to my score personally, so for me, I got to give it a 3.5. As I said, it was just, in plain black and white, it was pretty boring. Yeah, as I said, I can see a lot of people really liking this movie. As I've heard, a lot of people also really like this movie, but it just wasn't for me. Maybe I'll give it a rewatch sometime far down the track. I'm not really itching to rewatch it again soon, but yeah, I don't know. Interesting story, just not well executed. For a movie with already an hour 50-minute runtime, having it that slow, it was just sort of a drag to get through. But thank you for joining me for day number 5 of my 31 Days of Horror, and I'll see you tomorrow for day number 6, guys. Peace.